due respect, it wouldn't surprise me if one of your players failed a physical in a deal of this magnitude.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the thing that is so interesting is that you do, this rarely ever happens.
Yeah.
Usually when a guy fails a physical, he is just going to, essentially what you're going to do here is you are going to take him back. You're going to send Dalton Knecht back to the Lakers, and that's going to be that. There is no other way to go about it. So this idea that, you're not able to, or I just don't know what that looks like if you are the Charlotte Hornets. I don't know how you fix this.
Yeah.
Protesting it, the Lakers to fail a physical. I don't know how many people know this before we get to the ACC thing. To fail a guy on a physical, you have to have concrete evidence. And with Mark Williams, it's going to be a knee, an ankle, or a back. Those are his major injuries.
Yeah.
You have to have concrete evidence that the guy's not capable of playing basketball. And that trade is no longer able to be executed.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And
I don't know what you do.
If you're Charlotte, I mean, you can't tell me that you don't value Dalton Knecht. I mean, that's going to be a guy that's going to be an impact player, for somebody. I mean, that's somebody who's got great size, great shooter, like huge upside, So that's why I say, like, I'm not bought into this whole idea of, hey, the Lakers torpedoed this deal or whatever. Like, I don't think it was from their side. I truly believe that this was someone actually did fail a physical.
Yeah.
And I think Charlotte's trying to save face. And I think that Charlotte, is I'm not trying to hate on them, but I do think you're a second-class organization. This is not the first time. It's not the first time. You're not a championship contender. You're not like, I mean, again, people want to be like, oh, well, they're an NBA franchise. Like, they should, they would never intentionally fail a physical. They would never try to torpedo a deal. But I actually think they would try to torpedo deals. I do think that happens.
Why, though? What's the upside?
Because I think that I don't know what the upside is in their opinion, but somebody did something here. Somebody made a choice to get this deal blown up. Like, Mark Williams was fine. He was healthy. He was playing perfectly fine. Like, all good. And I can't pass a physical? Come on.
I just, out of nowhere, I do think it's interesting that out of nowhere, all of a sudden,
like, come on,
the Lakers failed that physical. But we'll see. Maybe they got cold feet. Maybe they didn't want to trade Dalton Knecht. Maybe ifs, ands, candies, and nuts. I don't know the answer to it, but I'm sure that'll come out more. We'll come back to Luka and the Lakers as we go on, but I do want to get to this situation with the ACC, because I do think it is very interesting to me that this is how we're going to end this ACC story, which is to say exactly how we told you it would end. We've been telling you that the grant of rights in the ACC has been rock solid. There is essentially no way to get out of that grant of rights. We told you months ago that ESPN was going to pick up that option because there's no reason for them not to pick up that option. And they did, which I don't think anybody is surprised about that. But what I will say is, it is surprising how much Florida State and Clemson now have to go back to the ACC hat in hand. And when I say that, they're currently negotiating, according to our sources, a revenue-sharing deal that will be centered on winning playoff games and their ability to generate TV audiences. And the fact of the matter is, right now in the ACC, you don't have a lot of marketable partners in the ACC in football. So Florida State and Clemson, their main argument is, we want a lion's share of the TV money. How are you going to deliver that to us? And what we are told is that Florida State and Clemson are going to have a hammer over the rest of the ACC, which will be, they're going to have the right to schedule Notre Dame football, who already is on the schedule at Clemson and Florida State. And now in this league, you are going to get paid if you draw the largest TV audiences during this season. And obviously, if you go to the college football playoff, now Florida State and Clemson are going to be able to keep a lion's share of the money they generate for the ACC for themselves. So as much as Florida State and Clemson are not going to be allowed to get out of their grant of rights, Jake, this also feels like a win on several levels for Florida State and Clemson.
Yeah, I think the genesis of this whole conversation was Florida State and Clemson wanted to make more money, right? I mean, that's what that has been the issue for several years now, as this conversation has, grown and evolved and walked itself down the path. And I think that, Clemson and Florida State are two teams in the ACC and frankly in college football who have done enough winning to justify wanting more money, but at the same time haven't won a lot in the last couple of seasons. And so there's been this conversation where it's like, hey, what we want to leave the conference. We want to find greener pastures. But then at the same time, they have not been able to do that. And they've spent a ton of money in legal fees and in legal effort to try to get this done, try to get out of the league. And so when they realized they couldn't get out of the league, then they had to revert back to, okay, well, there's got to be nefarious activity with ESPN, which is when that whole contract situation happened where they wanted a, behind the curtain look at the ACC TV deal with ESPN. Okay, nothing was found there. So now we come back to square one, which is what we've been telling you would happen for several months now, where it's a performance-based revenue sharing model in the ACC, which basically just means that the top dogs, Clemson, Florida State, and anyone else who competes consistently at the top of that league is going to have the ability to make more money than other members in that conference because they're playing bigger games and probably winning some of those bigger games. So I guess this appeases the situation for now, but I'm still not convinced that Florida State somehow is not always going to be the complainer in the room. Florida State has shown that with their leadership, they're always going to be complaining. They're always going to be the ones saying they need more money and they need more opportunity. And I think that's what's difficult when you look at college football in the bigger picture is that brands like Florida State and Clemson and, whoever else you want to point to in the ACC are always trying to improve their position. The problem is they don't have a lot of opportunity to do that because of this grant of rights situation with ESPN. And of course, as we've talked about so much, the ESPN deal is a really good deal for ESPN.
Yes, it is.
And so that's why they extended. That's why they put themselves in a position where they wanted to continue that deal through 2036. So frankly, nobody's surprised that ESPN exercised their option. It's more about
not at all.
It's more about, hey, how do we as Clemson and Florida State, and really Notre Dame kind of get into this place where we can all make more money, we can all compete with the big boys, and we can all get in the college football playoff with regularity. And my point is, hey, that's cool. You've got, you've leveraged yourself into this revenue sharing situation, but you still have to go out and win football games.
Yeah, I see. And I think that will handle itself, certainly at Florida State. I think that will handle itself. But again, for everybody that's in the Notre Dame needs to join a conference, no, they don't. Notre Dame played a significant role in saving the ACC. Notre Dame gets to schedule who they want. And now Notre Dame has access to the biggest teams in the ACC on the football field, which allows Notre Dame access to the college football playoff. And I'll say probably what a lot of people don't want to say, Notre Dame probably saved the ACC conference here. Because if Notre Dame doesn't agree to schedule with Florida State and ACC, or Florida State and Clemson and several of the members of the ACC, there's not a whole lot of butter for the toast, if you will, right? There's not a whole lot of money-making opportunities. If you are Florida State and Clemson, you've now negotiated a deal, or you're in the process of negotiating a deal, from what we're told, that's going to give you access to and pretty much a monopoly and a guarantee of you're going to get a lion's share of the TV money. This money that's going to be put into a communal fund, if you will, that then will be doled out to the football teams that generated the most TV ratings. That when you go to the college football playoff, that money is going to be lopsidedly distributed to the teams that actually participated in the college football playoff, which is not standard operating procedure. I'm telling you, it is what we have heard for years now, 2 full years. The Big 12 is doing it. I know that the Big 12 is working on it. The ACC is working on it, obviously. Performance-based revenue distribution has to be the future. It has to be the standard, really, for any conference to thrive and survive and to hang on to their biggest brands. Because if Florida State has no incentive, they're going to continue to chip away at this grant of rights. And the way that you do that is you chip away at the other members of the conference, and you try to essentially be a bad actor so that other people don't want to be in the conference anymore. And nobody wins in that scenario. And I think Florida State found that out the hard way, that when you're the jerk in the room, the people on the outside, I don't know, like the Big Ten and the SEC. And as I've told you from day one, they were never going to the Big Ten. That was never a possibility. But what I do know is Florida State felt like they had nowhere else to go, and they had nowhere else to go because it's an incredibly bad look when you erode the relationships in the conference for your own benefit.
Yeah. And I think, to that point, like I think not only did you erode the relationships, but you did it in such a fashion to say, hey, like, you guys don't win, you suck, we're better than you. Like, that was the take, right?
Pretty much.
The take was, hey, we win a lot more, and we're in the college football playoff consistently, and you guys aren't, and you guys are terrible. We should be making more money. We're good enough to be in the Big Ten and the SEC, but because of our grant of rights, we can't get out of this conference. Or frankly, we can't afford the exit fee, the $500 million exit fee. And so I just think that this is all, I do think that there are two different conversations that need to be had. There's one for the ACC, and then there's one for the Big 12, right? The Big 12 is obviously in a completely different place with this conversation than the ACC. And I think that the vitriol, the kind of, not hatred is strong, but just the edginess in the room in the ACC, I think it makes this a much more unpleasant proposition in the conference when all these people are meeting.
Certainly.
Like you roll up to a meeting if you're Florida State and Clemson, secondarily, but more Florida State, and you're basically now sitting here saying, hey, great, we got what we wanted. Kind of an I told you so moment. Like, hey, finally, this is how it should be. We are better than you. Like, you guys don't win enough. And I think in the Big 12, the difference is that the Big 12 is doing this because they want to make sure that they keep their biggest brands long term. They want to be able to say to Utah and I guess BYU, Iowa State, whoever you want to look at, Arizona State, whatever. Right. Your biggest brands over the next 5 to 7 years. Well, who is
the biggest brand in the Big 12?
Well, I think all the red-ass Big 12 fans are going to be like, well, how can you say Utah is the biggest brand when they just, lost all those games? But I think when you look at the Big 12 on its face, yeah, I think Utah is one of the biggest brands in the conference. I think most years they're a pretty good team. I would love to say Oklahoma State, but they, obviously last year was last year. We'll see what they do this year. I think that if Kenny Dillingham can find a way to replicate, he's going to quickly climb the ladder in the Big 12, but he does need to find consistency. Mm-hmm. So again, when we talk about performance-based revenue sharing, obviously there's a lot more incentive to go out and win the conference.
A lot.
To which I say, again, not to turn this into an Oklahoma State thing, but Oklahoma State football type situations where you're cutting Mike Gundy's contract down under the guise of you want to do more NIL, even though that's pennies on the dollar in terms of NIL. Like, it's those type of situations are going to cripple football programs if they continue to operate in that way over the next 5 years. You can't do it.
Yeah. I don't know what the answer will be in the Big 12. This saves the ACC.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. I would not want to be one of the low-level programs in the ACC. I certainly would not want to be Pitt. I would not want to be Virginia Tech. I just would not. I mean, I think when you look at the ACC conference, the haves and the have-nots, again, my opinion is Duke and North Carolina are always going to be fine. They're the decision makers. They're the power brokers in this league. They're always going to be fine. Florida State's always going to be the squeaky wheel. And the squeaky wheel, well, it usually gets the grease. And I think here, maybe this is what's best for the conference. Maybe, the problem for somebody like SMU who agreed for, 55,000 years never to take a media rights distribution, this is where it becomes absurd. You look at Cal and Stanford taking smaller percentages over the next several years. This is where it becomes absurd. Because if you're SMU, now you will not be able to compete at the top of this conference. Once this deal is vetted out, once this deal becomes rock solid, and essentially Florida State and Clemson have access to the most money and you don't, that's when this becomes untenable for SMU. That's when you start losing your coaches. That's when you start losing the recruiting battles. And I'm sure SMU fan is going to puff their chest out and say, but look what we did. This was an odd year in the ACC. I have no doubt. This agreement that we're talking about, where you have performance-based revenue distribution, only favors Florida State. Because even Dabo, who doesn't like the portal or NIL, Dabo's not going to have access to the cut. They barely and needed help to get in. They barely get in, right? How many years are you going to wind up playing SMU in the conference championship?
Yeah, I also think that the Miami conversation has to be had. I mean, I think that, obviously Miami had a great quarterback in Cam Ward, and that really propelled them. But again, the word is consistency. And the most successful college football coaches right now, every single year, are spending a ton of money in NIL, and their sales package is really strong. They're able to say, hey, we like Ryan Day. Hey, I've lost both my coordinators, but we're going to replace those guys, and we're going to be in a great spot. We're going to compete for another national championship. That's why Ohio State always has talent. But Miami, or any of these ACC teams, really are not in the college football playoff enough, consistently enough to have a pitch that is strong enough to bring in the best talent in the country. What is Mike Norvell gonna say to an SEC level talent, somebody that he's competing with SEC schools on?
Well, I've got the best coaching staff. We can put you in the NFL. Look at Jared Verse. You've got a sales pitch in Florida State, in my opinion. I think they're fine.
I think last year was an embarrassing year.
But again, this goes back to cutting the salaries, and this is when you look at what Florida State did. Florida State absolutely cleaned house after having a terrible season. They get in the portal, they bring in a really strong offensive and defensive coordinators. They changed completely from last year, which probably is a bit of an indictment as well. But if you're Miami, if you're fighting Florida State and Miami are fighting for the same 4-star recruit, you're not picking dysfunctional Miami, who's been dysfunctional for how many years? Unless that's your backyard, unless you're from SoFlo, you're not picking Miami. If you're from Jacksonville, if you're from Tampa, Orlando, certainly if you're from the Panhandle, you're picking Florida State, because Florida State has recent success. They put guys in the NFL. You have a reason to believe. I have zero reason to believe that Mario Cristobal will be at Miami in 2 years.
I would agree with
or that the administration's going to fund that program, or that this X, Y, and Z. They don't have a good stadium situation. The laundry list of problems for teams in the ACC is on full display at Miami. If I'm in that conference, I want to be one of 4 schools. And you know who I'm going to say: Florida State, Clemson, Duke, and Carolina. Everybody else, again, Pitt is an afterthought.
Yeah.
That's the issue here.
I don't disagree with the premise that Florida State should make more money than Pitt does. I don't disagree with that. But I think, again, just like with the whole Pac-12 Mountain West thing, the way you went about this was really rough. Rough. I just don't think that it, you helped yourself at all. And furthermore, I don't know what it would take to get back into a more cordial place with other conference members, or
no idea.
And generally speaking, I don't know that you got to be best friends with all the members in your conference, right? I mean, there's plenty of conferences where not everybody is on a hugging basis, if you will, at the meetings, but ultimately you have to be a place where everyone in the conference is moving. Difference between those conferences have everybody in alignment, and moving in the same direction. We don't really get this massive, like, oh man, we're gonna take a big time left turn and just go a completely different direction. So that's what I think the ACC's got to figure out here is, okay, now that we've got this done, how do we get the conference, moving again? How do we get something positive happening in this conference outside of just the college football playoff appearances and the normal stuff?
Yeah, I think you have to get these negotiations over with as soon as you can. And I think you're going to have to find a way to storytell the rest of your members. Because I'd also point out, wasn't just Florida State who didn't play well last year.
Yeah.
This league did not have a lot of wins in November and December, if we're being honest. And is there anybody here watching this show who believes somewhere out of nowhere that all of a sudden Syracuse is going to continue to be some kind of offensive juggernaut? Because I don't. And when I look at the ACC to end the year, who was really playing well at the end of the year? Syracuse and Louisville.
Right.
You look at, and Syracuse won 4 in a row to end the year and finished with 10 wins. Is that really the norm now in the ACC? That Syracuse is going to finish with 10-win season? Come on. I think we all are well aware. Syracuse was a nice story. Can they do it again? Louisville on a 9-4. I could see Louisville consistently winning 9 games. Mm-hmm. Nobody would be shocked by that. Would you be shocked if Mario Cristobal for the next 3 years won 10 games? I would. I actually would be shocked. Would you be surprised if for the next 5 years Mike Norvell found a way to win 10 games? I wouldn't be surprised at all. I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah.
That's how I view the ACC. I don't view it as a,
Yeah, I mean, I just think the ACC is inconsistent, just like any other conferences. And I think that, it's just tough because you don't have a ton of depth in that conference. There's not a lot of ways for you to get to the college football playoff. And that's what's difficult is I feel like the Big 12, also fights that dynamic a lot of hey, we have some good teams, but we don't have that big, Florida State and Clemson are probably bigger brands nationally than anything the Big 12 has right now. With all due respect to Utah, I think Utah's better than both of those teams, generally speaking. But from a branding perspective,
there isn't a brand in the Big 12.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
And if you've got to pick one brand, I don't know who that would be.
Yeah.
Who's the biggest, or in the comments section, who's the biggest brand in the Big 12? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you. I would like to say it's Oak State. But can you really say that when they're coming off of a winless season and they cut, Mike Gundy's nuts off? I hate to say it because it's going to piss people off. Colorado's the biggest brand in this league right now.
Well, and the hard part is I don't even disagree with that, but the hard part is Utah flopping in year one really hurt this conference. Coming in and just having a irrelevant season is just terrible.
But again, who in this league was relevant last year? BYU, Colorado, and Arizona State. Those three. Now, I mean, you could make the argument, well, Kansas won a couple of massive football games down the stretch, but was Kansas relevant last year?
Not really.
Not really. This was BYU, Colorado, and Arizona State. Not in that order. I think Arizona State was the best team with Scatterboo, the Ram.
Yeah.
But I just think it's very difficult to look at this league and say, man, that's a brand. That's a football brand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you have that right now. And if Deion post-Shador is able to put up the kind of offense without Travis and Shador, okay, now we've got a brand.
Yeah.
And again, not to be a red ass, if Joey McGuire in Lubbock, if he can put this portal season, is there anybody that had a better year in the portal than Joey McGuire in any league around the country? I would say no. If Joey McGuire doesn't win 8, 9, 10 games, if he isn't at the top of this conference this year, what excuse are you going to come up with? Because now he's got talent all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? So I expect maybe Texas Tech is that team finally with this portal and this recruiting, and I expect them to be significantly better. I expect BYU to win 9 games again because their talent is still really good. I expect the teams in this league that have their quarterbacks returning, and it's a lot of them, to be significantly better.
Yes.
But is there anybody here who thinks Dave Aranda is going to win 10 games?
But like, that's a perfect example. Like, Dave is a perfect example of a guy who's just on cruise control. Just he's going to have a couple 8-win years, and he's going to have a couple 3-win years, and he's going to have a couple 9-win years and a couple 2-win. Like, you're not trying to build anything there. You're just kind of going with it.
Let's get into the comments section. Who's the brand in the Big 12? Are you surprised that the ACC survived? We're not. I'm not at all. Bigfoot Duck, a member for 23 months.
What up?
Bigfoot Duck, always good to see you. Are we still battling technical issues? Mike Smith? Technical issues until Monty and Jake agree to join the LDS church.
Okay, fuck you. How's that?
We're going to have technical issues every single day. You know.
We can confirm still it's not an internet problem. Like,
yeah,
we're good on every other platform.
It's my guess is that YouTube is having an issue today. I apologize. Trust me when I say we're working not to be so reliant on YouTube. We are working on it. Noel Ramirez, whatever happened to the Miami booster that was always on the news giving NIL deals to players? Seems like he disappeared. He did disappear for sure. The eye patch, good morning. Notre Dame doesn't need to join the ACC. They're doing just fine as an independent. No need for Notre Dame to join a conference. No need whatsoever at all. Notre Dame, Joe says, needs to join the ACC 2035, else scheduling becomes an issue if the ACC implodes. It doesn't become everybody wants to play Notre Dame. Everybody wants to play Notre Dame. Their agreements and their alliances with Notre Dame and the ACC, it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame is not having trouble scheduling outside of the ACC. So, Steely says the YouTube machine acting goofy.
100%.
100%. Atomic Skull. Prime is the brand in the Big 12. I would agree with that. Colorado, Greg says. Anthony Easton, West Virginia. I'm excited about Rich Rod at West Virginia. They need to win games. Mike Smith is uniquely qualified to talk about this. When West Virginia is winning football games, there is no better brand. There is no better atmosphere. There is no better place to go watch a game. There is no better home field advantage. When West Virginia has Neil Brown, who needs fired, and billboards are agreeing with me on that, there's a lot of apathy in that fan base.
Yeah.
So Noel Ramirez, UCF, baby. Well, are you UCF fans? Let me ask, are you excited? I know that our bounce house contingent is pretty significant on this show. I mean, you've got so much change. And Scott Frost, is that like, I look at,
yeah,
I don't know. There's a lot of proving. Respect. There's a lot of proving to do there. Is there not?
There.
I mean,
yeah, I think that. Look, I like UCF a lot, but there is a lot of proving to be done. No question about it.
I mean, he is so. Alex Grinch, defensive coordinator. Well, Jimmy Beal, your running back coach. I mean, he's got a decent staff there. That's not a bad staff. Sean Beckton's a good wide receiver coach. Kenny Martin. Yeah, I mean, he's got a decent staff there. But is Scott Frost a guy where you're like, hey, we're winning the whole damn thing? Probably not. Phil Venzer. Good morning, Phil. With all these YouTube commercials, are you getting any cut of the revenue or not? TCU is the only ones who have been to a national championship or won a playoff game before last year. You're not wrong.
But again, see, here's the problem with that. Even with TCU, you're not wrong, but they're still not the biggest brand in the Big 12. That's the problem.
And can Spike Dykes' kid turn it around?
Yeah, I mean, I like what you got going on offense.
How can you not?
Like, I think you're in a great place there, but the defense is just such a liability. Like, at some point, I would expect you to make that adjustment.
They gave up 224 points.
That's painful, bro.
And you only scored. Yeah. Let's see what happens. I mean, listen, you won 9 games. You gave up. You scored a lot of points out of conference. Like, somebody needs to step forward in the Big 12 and be the Florida State and be the Georgia and be the Ohio State. And I don't see it. I don't see it. Yeah, Jay, I think unfortunately none. I think that's true. The eye patch. Yes, the Big 12 doesn't have a brand, Monty, just a conference full of parity, which is not good. And I think this is something that people need to wrap their heads around. And I know it's going to be, if you're UCF is a great example, and you're trying to build something, is parity good for your program? It is. It is.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. How much parity is there in the Big Ten? How much parity is there in the SEC? It's growing in the SEC, certainly. But what's happened now that the SEC has gotten deeper? Oh, it's weak in the SEC. What's happened now that the Big Ten has not gotten, they've added more clubs, but have they gotten more quality? No. So what's happened? They've won back-to-back national championships.
Yeah.
So parity is this mythical thing, and we want everybody to participate. Here's a cookie for you, Jimmy. The problem is Jimmy and his cookies doesn't make money.
Yeah.
You want behemoths. You want brands. Is there parity in the NFL? Not the last 5 years there haven't been. When Patrick Mahomes goes to the AFC Championship game every year, is that parity? No. But is it good for the NFL? Did anybody see the Super Bowl ratings? Yeah, the biggest Super Bowl ever.
Yeah, bro.
Parity's not good.
What happened to all the people that were going to boycott? Like nobody boycotts.
That's not good. It is. Yeah. Anyway, that awkward guy. I hate the tortilla throwers so wasteful with food. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And it's what Dion said last year. If you're not watching his show on Prime Video, you dumb. You're missing out. You're missing out on it. I think that the tortilla thing is great. And Dion's point was, I don't care if you throw tortillas. That's who you are. That's your brand. Cool. Let's do it. You start throwing water bottles and you start throwing rolls of nickels and you start throwing quarters. That's when people get hurt. Throw your tortillas, man. I love that. Bailey Dietrich, who's got a Ohio State championship t-shirt as your avatar or whatever you call it. Nick's Chubb. You have to put the
it's
possessive
not Nick Chubb, dude. It's Nick's Chubb.
Nick's Chubb.
Yeah.
Bears, Monty, what do you think? It's too often injured, man.
Yeah.
It's too often injured. The biggest moneymaker in the Big 12 is Texas Tech, though. So is that your brand? When I say brand, when I think of you, man, they win at Ohio State.
A lot.
That's what I mean.
A lot.
That's why, and everybody gets pissed when you say, and I tend to lean in this direction, that Utah is the football brand. And when I say who wins football games in this league, TCU, no. BYU, sometimes. Utah, back-to-back Rose Bowls, back-to-back Pac-12 championships. They win games. Kyle Whittingham has always won games. Did they win this year? Not even a little bit. Not really, no. Was it a complete and total failure? Yeah, it was. Yes, it was. Yeah, the quarterback thing, all of that. So they completely cleaned house on offense.
Yep.
Oak State. Was that a complete failure in any definition? Yeah, let's cut the coach's pay, but make sure he stays on staff.
I'm a man.
We're rolling. Jay McClanahan. Cue ball won't win 10. He will probably scratch.
So see what he did there? That's a pool reference, right? That's a cue
like
ball.
Swimming. So he's going to get
like,
in the pool
like
and
pool table, that kind of pool.
Oh, you mean like billiards?
Yeah.
Now are we
billiards.
playing 9-ball or 8-ball? How about 2 balls?
How about pocket ball?
Pocket pool? You tried. I would agree he's not winning 10 games. Dana Marie, hello. I think most regular people know Regular people.
Can you please define regular?
Listen, you irregular types of
you
it.
know, can we talk about like what regular people means?
You people.
Yeah.
You irregular people. You don't know that BYU. Most regular people know BYU over most others.
U.S. Americans.
You U.S. Americans don't know that BYU is BYU. And it's MFing BYMFing you. That's how
fucking America.
That's how we say it when we're having lunch at DP Cheese Sticks.
Yeah, such as in like,
J-Dogs.
Yeah.
I'm such a jerk.
U.S. Americans.
Those are all Jita references.
J-Dogs.
Dana Marie,
Come
good to see you.
on.
I would agree. Most people know BYU. BYU is a huge name. And now, how did you lose to Kansas? Don't lose to Kansas this year.
Too bad.
Yeah. You're such a dick.
Too fucking bad, man.
Baylor is my Big 12 dark horse for 2025. Okay. Phil Venzer. He's in Las Vegas.
And he's pissed off.
If we at UNLV are broke, then why are we paying our head coach? Okay, so let's Myar and the Monty program.
We have entered UNLV with Uncle Monty talk.
So let me take you behind the curtain. I'm chilling in the cut, writing some scripts the other day, right? Like we do shorts and golf, and we're planning some golf stuff. And
Right.
I look down at my phone, and my phone's ringing. Like, well, hot damn, somebody's trying to get the Monty program.
Who is, man?
Number I don't know. But you know what the funny thing is? It's not Mark Spam.
Pause, bro. Pause.
Man, who this? Now, immediately when you saw it wasn't Mark Spam, were you like, well, should I answer? Should I not? Like...
it's a Vegas number.
Uh-huh.
You know, your boy likes to play some cards. Maybe it's the bookie looking for his money.
Right. eBay's calling you.
eBay. He got 57 fucking years, dude.
Keep it
57
real.
years in the hole. Or 57 months.
And meanwhile, we're getting the great gambler videos of him rolling up to Glendale yesterday.
I'm talking on my
Come
phone.
on, bro.
I'm talking about how I don't answer numbers I don't know. And a friend of mine is like, that's why you always send me to voicemail. Yes, because those of us in the know,
well, quote, regular people.
Regular people.
Right.
Eat each other in voicemail.
Right.
U.S. Americans.
I have the filter. I use the iPhone filter.
Right.
Where my phone won't ring if I don't know the number, but it flashes like a little thing on top of my phone that tells me I got a phone call. They're leaving you a voicemail. Do you want to answer it? So, of course, pimp's going pimp.
Donnie, please.
I answer it.
Right.
And I'm like, Pimp Central, hello.
Pimp Central.
And it is somebody very close to the UNLV athletics.
It's internal.
Who called me and was like, hey,
Monty.
Hey, Marty. The guy, you want to know that this person actually watches the show? It's funny when people walk up to you,
yeah,
you can tell if they're a long time or if they're just a dirty casual.
Sometimes,
right?
Okay, maybe.
Right. So this guy answered the phone and he's like, hey, it's me. I do this. I immediately Google search him. Turns out it is.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, I watch your show every day, Marty. So like you can tell when they play into it.
Right.
But it was a guy close to UNLV.
Mm-hmm.
And we were having like a real life discussion about, hey, I want to make sure you understand why we stayed in the Mountain West and why it was the right move for us.
Right.
And he goes on, much to pissed off Phil Venzer, about the money thing. It's not that they don't have money for, as this particular person said, it's not like we can't feed the kids, but we're not getting a new car. We're the family on the street. We've had the same car for like 7 years.
Chrysler Town and Country.
It's a station wagon and we're missing a hubcap.
Right.
Is the analogy that he used. And I think it's a really good analogy.
Yeah.
they're not capable of scratching the check that it would take to A, leave the conference, pay an exit fee, leave the conference, pay a poaching fee, leave the conference and negotiate a price to buy your grant of rights back.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, and as we reported on the show and everybody said, hey, you guys are totally wrong, the memo of understanding they signed includes a grant of rights. As we've reported exclusively on this show, they signed a grant of rights. That grant of rights doesn't kick in until 2026, but it's enforceable the day they signed it. So their rights stay with the Mountain West. You don't have to like it, but that's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about UNLV broke, then why are they paying a football coach $3.5 million a year with the second highest paid staff getting 1.8 and our coach's salary went from 7 to 11 million? Because it's not that you can't pay your bills. It's not that you don't have operating money. It's the issue really is you don't have a pot of gold. You don't have a war chest, Florida State. You don't have the state of Nevada willing to put, like, do you guys remember when Governor DeSantis, we're going to fight these and we're going to win.
Here's to find out.
Here's $1 million to pay the lawyers. Well, that's not happening in Nevada, where you're looking at a scenario, and this is, Phil, this is what we always talk about with casinos, right? Like this person close to UNLV was telling me the casinos don't have money. Like the casino industry, particularly tourism, and the event, and I think I was telling you, this person told me this, the event that really did not help UNLV in any way, shape, or form? Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
Did not help. It didn't help Las Vegas almost at all. It was woefully underattended. It did not make them the revenue. They did not reach the top end of revenue. And now they're talking about moving it out to the racetrack north of the city. Like, there's not money just falling out of slot machines at the Thomas and Mack Center, right? And the interesting thing that was brought up in that conversation, the NBA Summer League does more good for us than a Formula One did.
Yeah.
And the other part is playing at Allegiant is not some boom. Has not been, I should say, some boom for UNLV. But the fact that the Mountain West is going to relocate to Las Vegas, the fact that it's going to become the hub for Las Vegas, the fact that down the road, the people at UNLV, I am told, believe that Allegiant is going to become a revenue stream for them. They believe that the Pac-12, whatever happens in the Pac-12 is going to want to incorporate Las Vegas. Down the road, UNLV should be in a significantly better financial position for athletics than they are now. But they do not have a war chest to go and fight the fight.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot afford to just hand money over to lawyers to lose lawsuits. But you know what the shocking part is? Neither can Boise State. Neither can Fresno State. Neither can San Diego State. Neither can Colorado State. Neither, certainly, I can tell you assuredly, neither can Utah State. If those universities lose those lawsuits, it is going to be a catastrophe for those universities and their bottom lines.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Another part of the conversation I had with this person close to UNLV was, we want to win at a really high level. We want to go to the college football playoff. And you know what the language he used was? For as long as it exists.
Yeah.
Not every year. Not we're as long as it exists. Because I think UNLV is banking on a super league that they can opt into that will allow them to play for championships in football.
Yeah.
That's what I honestly think that's where this is going. So we can sit here and we can have these grandiose conversations.
Can pontificate.
And we can all think our that we're all pulling 6-foot blondes with you're not. You're not. You're UNLV, and you're doing a really good job with what you have, and you made the exact right decision to stay in the Mountain West. And I know, again, every time I'm on with Steve Caulfield in Las Vegas, the termites come out of the woodwork. And we hear from all kind of guy that's like, hey, man.
Hey, Morty.
Hey, Marty. There's no hey, Marty.
No, well, Monty's.
You at UNLV, you have this weird fan base at times. And I think this is the majority of UNLV fans are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of Utah fans, phenomenal. But goddamn, the ones you hear from are absolutely
what was the
repugnant.
Adage? The squeaky wheel gets the grease.
The vocal minority are absolutely repugnant at UNLV.
Keep it real.
Rooting for the thing that I'll never understand is UNLV fan rooting for them to fail in the Mountain West.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
It's a bad look.
You're in it because, again, the top end at UNLV in basketball and football is remarkable. It is, you can compete for national championships in football and in basketball at UNLV.
Yeah.
Now, are you? Not right now. Losing Barry, did that hurt? Oh, my God. That was not ideal. But what did he show you? You can go to the college football playoff in the Mountain West. So that's a long answer. Phil Venzer, you
nice job, Phil.
Got much more
Good
than
job.
we know. DK, hello, DK.
Oh, DK.
My guy, where you been? With enough investment, does any team in the Big 12 have the potential to have brand power of Texas or Oklahoma? You're talking about Oklahoma State. You're talking about Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's got all the money in the world, yet they cut Mike Gundy's salary. You figure it out, because I can't figure it out. Yeah. I think TCU's got mad money like that. I know factually that well, BYU's got a ton of money. But BYU's got some off-script stuff going on. I think BYU's in a really interesting position. And again, I am not Mormon. I am not a member of the church. This tithing lawsuit that was allowed to go forward last week or 10 days ago, keep an eye on that. There is a lawsuit going on against the church. And if you don't know, BYU is Brigham Young University. Owned and operated by the church. Their books are private. They're sealed. Forget it. You're never going to know their
God
money.
bless.
But you're paying your coaches more than you've ever paid football coaches. You have the facilities at BYU.
A1.
Now the nutrition, the strength and conditioning, everything you've ever wanted at BYU. They have the money. They've made the investments. They have smart, savvy operators in football and basketball. Their NIL pockets are deep. BYU could be that brand. Now, but just watch some of the things. Whenever you have church, politics, and religion pulling strings for you, it always makes things difficult.
Yeah.
Utah, dude, if your last name is Eccles, you're putting money into Utah athletics. They have great supporters. They have great sponsorship deals.
And still ran at a deficit this past year.
Because of the Pac-12.
Yeah.
I know Mark Harlan is a volatile figure, the athletic director at Utah. He's a volatile figure. He's a really good athletic director. And he should have been the commissioner of the Pac-12. I like Mark Harlan a lot. I respect Mark Harlan a lot. The mea culpa that he issued far too late. The mea culpa he issued about the BYU meltdown, I respect that. I wish he'd come on our show. I don't think he will. I've asked. They've never come back and said, sure, Marco, come on. Just send me a link. Right? The money is not the issue in this conference. You got all money in this conference. The issue in this conference is the administration's desire. How do I say this? Baylor. The president at Baylor tried to get everybody in the room to make football a private equity fund. Nobody would even come to the meeting.
No.
Now you have the Big Ten and the SEC doing what? Oh, that's right. Privatizing and going equity and scheming.
Right.
to try and control their little world.
Schemers trying to control their little worlds.
Taking over college football. And you know why that's happening? Because the people in the Big 12 don't. You hired Brett Yormark. Do what the guy tells you to do.
Yeah.
You have to. And I know you're tired of hearing me say this, and I'm sorry. It takes what it takes. You got to do what you got to do. How many schools in this Big 12 league are all in to win a national championship? NIL, revenue sharing, facilities, training tables, the way you travel. Look at the way Utah travels. Does Utah travel second class? They don't. Do they have more? Do you understand they're running at a deficit? Look at the way their gymnastics program is funded. Like, look at the secondary sports. I'm not talking about baseball, softball, football, basketball.
Right.
Look at the bottom of the barrel sports are taken care of at Utah. They have the money. Utah will do anything they can do to win a national championship. If that meltdown against BYU didn't tell you anything, it tells you Mark Harlan cares about one thing when it comes to football. Win every single snap. Not every quarter, not every half, not every game, every single snap. They have the want to. How many teams in this league? Can you really tell me that keeping Mr. Clean at Baylor was telling everybody that you'll do everything in your power to win a game? I don't think so.
Come on, guy.
Are you telling me that cutting Mike Gundy's nuts off by giving him a pay cut because you can't afford NIL, which is complete nonsense?
Yeah.
And then hiring a couple of old heads to be his coordinators, you're telling me that's everything you can do to win a game. Are you at all in the belief system? No matter who your team is. That's why, again, I don't know if Mike Smith is still here or not. Mike, do you believe that West Virginia with the Rich Rod hire is doing everything they can do to win games? Because I believe that they are.
Yeah.
I think Rich Rod's a great hire for West Virginia. Kotelnicki at Penn State was probably the guy that I wanted most for West Virginia fans. Rich Rod's not a bad fallback position because it ain't like Kotelnicki went somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So we can sit here and we can play this game and we can wonder in the ifs and the ands and the buts. Nah, bruh. How many teams in this league in the Big 12 are willing to do everything it takes? Because I'm telling you now, as much as we all hate on Florida State's doing everything they can do to put themselves in position to be rich and win games.
Yeah.
Alabama, Georgia. You can hate on Michigan, and I think I've said this about Michigan before. You can hate on Michigan. All I know is they were doing everything they could do to make sure they won games. I've got some love for that. I don't have some love for some of the other stuff that they've done.
Got to be America's team.
And their arrogance and the
Cheating,
damage.
Lying, and then playing the victim.
Listen, you cheated. Everybody's doing something. But when you get caught, let's not say it was just Jimmy buying cheeseburgers for
Because it's illegal.
The hungry kids.
Yeah, they were starving out in the cold winter.
Jack wagons. TJ back. I love doing this show.
Yeah.
For $5. TJ, are you flying in something there? Dude, we got to talk about some stuff. Canzano keeps espousing that the new Pac-12 is going to make more money than the Mountain West.
Why do people not learn their lesson? At what point? Again, I'm not going down this route. Simply put, at some point, y'all are going to learn your lesson about that reporter and what he says, because it is not true. It never has been true. And everyone just wants to go with him on
you
things.
Guys sit here and tell us that we're wrong about everything at every turn. When's Canzano been right? Was it the back of the envelope calculations? Was it the $50 million per school per year?
Back of the envelope calculations.
I can only tell you that Pac-12 fans and Pac-12 homers like John Canzano, who in my opinion is not even a little bit down the middle. I don't have a dog in the fight. My life and my livelihood does not rely on the Pac-12 surviving, such as in like So I
Well,
have no
I would-
reason to lie or to spin. It's why we've been right so much down the line.
Yeah, and I would to that point you said about our livelihood not relying on the Pac-12 for survival. I would also point out our livelihood doesn't depend on the show just having massive over the top views. So we don't have to create fake narratives. We don't have to create these ridiculous. Now, obviously, we're going to do everything we can to, help ourselves and everything, but it's a totally different position for us because we can just talk about what we know it to be. We don't have to spin it in a pro Pac-12 light, and that's all that's happening there.
And to your question, one of these conferences is going to survive and thrive, and the other will not. Could the Pac-12 make more money than the Mountain West? Absolutely.
Would the merger make more than both of them?
Yes. And that way, it's interesting you bring that up, TJ, because I think it's 10% that they would merge. They can't even talk right now because of the legalities, the lawsuits. This is a $12 to $15 million league with every team in it. With all of the Mountain West and all of the Pac-12 and all of their current members, NIU, Gonzaga, and everybody.
Gonzaga.
They're a $12 to $15 million a year per school media deal.
Gonzaga.
It is a massive footprint that includes Texas and California. It is really good football brands that you can believe if you invest in them at that level, Boise State's going to take that money and put it into winning football games. It's all of it. Separately, I don't know that either one of them makes $10 million. And what is sad, and this is the truth, you know how they're going to merge? Because one of them's going to go out of business.
And my opinion, again, not being pro Pac-12, not really sure how it's
what?
It's the Pac-12 that stays in business.
What?
I know. That's rocket science, dude. I know.
Because here's the scary thing. And I've talked about this repeatedly. And remember that I've said this repeatedly.
Over and over and over again.
Gloria Nevarez is the trump card here. No pun intended. Gloria Nevarez has the hammer because she has relationships.
Yeah.
While she's got people helping her with her media deal, do you realize that when the Mountain West got poached, and it's an incredibly damaging, when you lose those brands, bro, incredibly damaging.
But
did she run and hide?
Yeah.
Did she try to cover it? Or she called her TV partners. She called her stakeholders. And that went a long way. And don't be surprised if she's on CBS, if she's on Fox. And I don't mean big Fox and CBS Sports Network, FS1, TNT. She's got existing relationships in those buildings already. And she's negotiating a media rights deal already. And she's got multiple seven-figure branding deals. The business model is there. And I know that pisses off Pac-12 fans. I know that infuriates you. I know that frustrates you.
But what should frustrate you more is that you're not going to see $10 million on your own. I think, with the things we've been told, what the news cycle is trying to tell you guys, like, I would be surprised if you got 10 per school.
That would be.
I mean, I feel like
if the Pac-12 gets 10 million per year per school, it's over for the Mountain West.
Yeah,
it's over. There's no kind. And if they do that first, because I think whoever gets their media rights deal on paper done first, whoever that is, they're gonna survive and thrive.
My opinion is my gut feeling on it is I think we're talking about like 8 a year. I don't think we're talking about 10 a year.
I think 8 is a really good number for either one of these conferences.
Yeah, and the sad part is I think, and again, just like you're saying, I think this is gonna go one of two ways. My personal opinion is I do think that the Pac-12 will be the one that comes up short, just because they don't have a lot of money to work with right now. You've got the legality situation.
And there's not a lot of trust or faith in
Right.
them to execute an agreement.
So with all of that being said, if we just are logically thinking of this or thinking about it that way, the logic would say, hey, the Mountain West and Gloria are going to get a TV deal done for their conference somewhere around $7-8 million a year,
which would be a significant raise.
It would be. And everybody in that conference would be happy with that number, obviously. And then from there, I would think, based on what we've talked about, where it's like, hey, whoever gets it first is going to survive and the other one's going to die. I would think at that point, then maybe litigation gets put on hold and merger talks get put forward because you don't really have another choice. But
I hope both of these, at the end of the day, my opinion is there will be a mix of these universities forming one conference.
Because there's not enough butter for all the toast, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's the reality of it. And if you're a Pac-12 fan, what I ask you simply is, what path do you have that doesn't include you relying on past behavior? Because what Pac-12 supporters, guys like the great radio wizard in the Northwest, won't stop talking about. Oh, well, Boise State, they just went to the college football playoff. Okay, well, and that's undisputed. But let me ask you, and let's use the same names, because Front Office Sports, who reported absolutely fucking nothing, ESPN and Fox and CBS are all willing to have conversations.
Still
maybe
open
possibly
to
at some point
conversations.
in the future. Maybe.
Oh.
So if you're CBS, for instance, do you have late windows? You don't. Do you have late windows on Fox? You don't. Do you have late windows on NBC? Well, you don't. Because you all have a Big Ten deal. Okay, Fox. Fox potentially has late windows.
Right.
We know that Fox wanted, for instance, if the ACC deal had become available, which it was never going to, Fox would have gone in hard on the ACC deal. Okay, maybe Fox has an appetite for more college football. But do they have a late window? Maybe a very small amount of those late windows, but not on FS1. Are you putting Boise and San Diego State on Big Fox? No, probably not. Is that going to be, this is, again, I'm asking you.
Rubber meets the road, bro.
If you're Big Fox Network, and you know that your partners in the Big Ten are broadcasting in those late windows, are you going to put Fresno State and Boise State football on in a late window against USC and whoever, Rutgers at the Coliseum, USC and Michigan State at the Coliseum on CBS or on NBC? No, you're not. So where's the late window availability? It's on FS1. That's where the late window is.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I ask you, if you're FS1, would you rather do business with the devil you know or the one you don't? You're more likely to do business with the Mountain West because you know them. You know Gloria.
Oh, and you
she's got
respect her
experience
more.
and she's executed
Yeah.
and she's communicated.
Yeah.
I don't see, and back to the Boise State proposition, I think this is really important. Does Boise State going to the college football playoff benefit anybody that is in the regular season package game for the Pac-12? No, it doesn't. So this idea, well, Monty, Boise State just went to the college football playoff.
Like, for instance,
Jackwagon. Okay. So tell me, how does that help? Does that mean that more people moved to Boise because they were in the college football playoff? No. Does that mean that more people will watch a game in October with Fresno State and Boise State, or Colorado State and Boise State, or San Diego State and Boise State? Because last year, Boise State was in the college football playoff.
No.
what it means is Boise State fan will be more plugged in. But what does that do? What does Boise State do for a San Diego State fan who's apathetic about their football program because they just don't win? Absolutely nothing. And it doesn't do anything to energize a TV negotiation for the regular season because those people make no money on the college football playoff, which lives with ESPN and ABC. So the idea that, well, we've got the brand, what does that mean? You don't have bigger TV markets than the Mountain West. And everybody always goes to, well, we got Southern California. Okay, so if you're Fox, does the Pac-12 have Southern California? No, because San Diego State doesn't pull big TV numbers in football. And if I really want late window Metropolis, I can get that in the Mountain West, probably for less money than the Pac-12 is asking for. With Las Vegas, which is now equal in population as a TV market to San Diego because of the explosion of Las Vegas and Clark County.
Right.
So there's not this big hammer that idiots on the radio in the Pac-12 are going to tell you exists. That's not factual. Could it be that they're going to get $10 million a year? Sure. Absolutely. Could it be that Jake's ever going to have sex with a woman? Sure.
Waves in opposition.
It's not likely.
Yeah, I mean,
but it could happen.
We all know this.
Hiscock.
Noel Ramirez, UCF is going to have to ask Orange County for another $100 million from their tourist development tax, especially with how well MegaCon did this week.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Cool.
I like
Nice.
Conrad for $10. I hope UCF wins. The bounce house in a big game is the home field advantage, that having to go to the bounce house to play UCF when UCF is good and it's humid and it's November or October, and that's difference making. Guys, I've noticed a few other podcasts that cover the Pac in the Mountain barely mention the lawsuit when they speak of Pac-12 expansion. Thoughts? My thoughts is I don't know what other podcasts do. And I say, if you don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. But what that should tell you is, if you don't understand Pac-12 expansion, why is UNLV staying in the Mountain West? Well, one, I think UNLV understands their place and time.
Mm-hmm.
But UNLV is not in a position to pay the lawyers to get out of the grant of rights, to negotiate agreements.
Let's put it in a simpler term. UNLV doesn't see the Pac-12 as greener pasture, mainly because it's not greener pasture.
I would agree with that.
Like, that's just what it is. And so I think the question of like, hey, why aren't other shows or whatever or podcasts talking about the lawsuit? Maybe they're uneducated on it. Maybe they don't want to. I have no idea. What I can tell you, though, is that anytime there's a lawsuit happening between two conferences and those two conferences are essentially competing over these different schools, that absolutely affects Pac-12 expansion. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Mike Smith. Canzano is Baghdad Bob for the Pac. I don't even disagree with that. I just wish that John Canzano would be down the middle, and he's not. He's incredibly biased. Like, do you understand who John Wilner is? Like, that's a journalist. And you put on George Kliavkoff to go back of the envelope calculations.
Yeah, dude.
Back of the envelope calculations.
And you put guys on and you were backing his belief.
No comment.
Come on, man. Come on. Big Blue Horses. I seriously question if the Gators are all in on winning national titles. I do not. I think that what we saw in the second half of last year better be what we see in the entire year this year, where big changes are coming to Gainesville.
Yeah.
I don't know how, because I think he's lucky to have kept his job, Billy. Joe, if my CPA was doing, quote, back of the envelope calculations with my taxes.
Right, yeah.
Back of the envelope calculations.
Jay Chapman, Canzano and Altimer, the know-nothing duo. It's the problem is it's not a know-nothing. In my opinion, it's a choose to not tell reality and facts.
It's not being honest. Like, it's not, Like,
That's my opinion on it. I'm not telling you that John intentionally lies to you. I don't know if that's the case. My opinion is he's been wrong about everything that was going to happen in the Pac-12 from the jump.
Yeah.
From the get-go. Captain James T. Kirk. Okay. And donuts, don't get sucked into the Canzano vortex. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Bobblehead guru is back. Okay.
Not sure what that means.
I don't know what that means. Bronco McFord. Pac-12 needs to steal UNLV, Nevada, Air Force, New Mexico, and New Mexico State. You don't have a path to do that. Mike Smith. Gloria is good, but she is no overlord Karen of the Endeavor empire. Well, and listen, Endeavor and the media companies that are helping these conferences try to negotiate these media rights deals. Why has it not happened already? If the Pac-12 has this absolute hammer, slam dunk, we're the
Great
best.
sales package. We're so coveted.
6 foot blonde, Brazilian wax, great implants. Why is there no TV deal? Why is there no media rights deal?
You know,
If you've got the hammer and you've got the best brands and we've got all the football and all the basketball and
Oh, that's right, because you don't.
it's
That's
Valentine's Day and there's no deal.
That's right.
Why is there no deal? Oh, these things take time, right? You told us it would be in December and then New Year's. And now we're heading to Pac-12 talking heads like John are saying, oh, well, what I'm being told is it's,
He's got no class.
Come on. Jimmy Otson, hello. The Pac-12 doesn't need to merge with the Mountain West. They need to merge with the AAC. But again, and I run into this every day. Memphis is coming, Monty. Okay.
Dude.
If Memphis, who also signed a grant of rights in the AAC, if Memphis and Tulane and USF are coming to the Pac-12, why hasn't it happened already? And if the AAC was just so thirsty, everybody wants to be in the Pac-12. I heard that the other day. Everybody wants to be in the Pac-12. Well, then why isn't everybody there? Because you're telling me your door's not open? Well, we got to get a media rights deal. Okay, so you think having everybody in the conference before you negotiate that deal, you don't think that's the right way to do business? You think, and again, amongst
Front
the things
office
that
sports reporting, bro.
Again, amongst the things that I've asked, you think it's smarter to negotiate a TV deal then expand? You don't think that's leaving money on the table?
That's what they want to do. But again, why? Why do they want to? And this is the part that when we get comments like, hey, well, why is no one talking about the lawsuit? Why? Because, dude, they don't want to talk about the lawsuit because that hurts their image. It's yet another thing that tarnishes their image and makes them look foolish.
Because they don't want to tell you there's no route. There's no legal precedent. There's no past behavior that shows judges have a willingness to gut a conference and then lift all of the financial penalties that were in place if you gut the conference.
Yeah.
There's no contract law. There's nothing
to lean on, dude.
That said, you go look at the Pac-12 meltdown. They're suing for the exact same reason that they won in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
The legal precedent that the Pac-12, Pac-2 versus the exiting 10 members, you know what they did? They set a legal precedent that hurts the Pac-2 right now.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about that. These are settlement things. What did I tell you about the ACC agreement? It was never going before a judge.
Yeah, where are all the Florida State buffoons?
It was never going before a judge because there's no precedent. There's no way. There's no law that says when you sign a contract that you knowingly signed without duress after admitting you read it multiple times. Oh, but the ESPN agreements were fraught with fraud, and we got to see it.
How many times did we sign this contract? Oh, that's right. Not once, but twice, dude.
And what did I tell you? Do you really think ESPN's in the business of negotiating fraudulent TV agreements? Well, yeah, Marty, that's why we're getting out of it.
Come on, dude. Like, again, and then we're the ones that get called hacks. That's what I think is hilarious. Like, we bring you a logical take that makes perfect sense and has been tried and true, and then gets proven correct because I'm going to keep, going right off of what he said. Dude, we've been saying for 2 years now, bro, that this was never going to take place in the ACC, that they were never leaving that conference, that they were going to have to stay, and ESPN was going to pick up the option. Like, I
because
can't.
it's simple.
Yeah.
I don't have emotion in it. So what do I always talk about?
Well, you're an SEC guy.
That's
we
right.
know that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't have emotion in it.
Yeah.
The ACC deal, the Pac-12 deal, the Mountain West deal. What do? I talk to the people who were involved in it. I can't tell you how many lawyer conversations I've had dating back to the Pac-12 meltdown, really dating back to USC and UCLA leaving the Pac-12. I've had conversations with contract lawyers.
Yeah.
I've had conversations with entertainment industry lawyers. I've had conversations with athletic directors, presidents. Gloria Norris was on the show.
Yes.
We've talked to her.
We show up.
We're right way more than we're wrong, to which I cannot tell you how many people have called us. And people are, you're just lying. You're blovy. Okay, don't believe me, but I'm going to tell you, people call us.
Yeah.
Administrators call us.
Yeah.
Board of Regent members call us. How do you think we knew what happened inside that room with Arizona State? How do you think we knew that they were not going to act separately?
Well, you just made it up, right? I mean, that's obviously.
Source, trust me, bro.
Yeah, trust me, bro. Yeah.
How do you think we knew that UNLV was not leaving that conference? Do you think if we're just full of shit, top to bottom, could we really throw this much stuff on the wall and be right? Just out of sheer luck. Do you think it's possible to be, my percentage of luck would have run out years ago? Oh, that's right. But our sources at Utah called us on the show. Guys at UNLV and close to UNLV, NIL, the biggest NIL groups in the country have called us to say, hey, I want to make sure that you guys know this. And then all we have to do is go back and get in touch with the athlete on social, DM, text, and say, hey, I heard this about you. And, well, who told you that? As soon as you hear, well, who told you that? Who are you talking to? It's over. It's over. It's over. That's how we've been right about the ACC. It's how we were right about the ESPN contract. It's how we were nails on the Pac-12. It's why we know.
It's how we were nails on Donovan Mitchell getting traded.
It's how we know that the Pac-12 can't win the poaching lawsuits. And it will never, in my opinion, go before a judge.
Yeah, which inevitably means that they are either going to have to pull a coup to get a TV deal. They are going to have to do something. I don't know what that is, but they're going to have to do something that totally shakes up the conversation, totally, would put a TV executive on their head and be like, oh my God, this is just incredible. We have to have this kind of deal. Or, again, in my opinion, I've been saying this for a minute, at some point, the Mountain West is going to suffocate the Pac-12, meaning, A, the Mountain West is going to get that TV deal done first, $7 to $8 million a year per school, in my opinion. And then at that point, then the Pac-12 is going to sit there and have to say, okay, we're out of options. We can't get a media rights deal done that's worth anything. They could go to the CW and get a streaming deal done. But again, another point, why hasn't the CW thing happened? We've been hearing about them and the CW for ages. Everyone always telling, oh, well, they're going to go to CW, but it hasn't happened.
Because I think signing a deal with the CW is waving a white flag.
Yeah.
Because I think they could sign that deal today. They could formalize an agreement with the CW today. But I think they know if they sign a deal with the CW, it's waving a white flag.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing that makes sense. I really do. Delaric, good morning. The Pac should have merged with the Mountain West, call it a Pac whatever, but ran by and like the Mountain West.
But again, we've been over this.
Yeah.
The pride of the Pac-12 will not allow that.
Ryan Dooley, is a merger with the Pac and Mountain West still possible, or leadership incompetent in that way? I am telling you, multiple sources have told us the Pac-12 killed any merger talks. I have heard repeatedly Gloria Nevarez and her constituents in the Mountain West were more than willing to merge with the Pac-12, and that the Pac-12 ended those discussions.
Yeah.
They're the ones who continuously say no.
Yeah, we're at a point where a merger is not going to happen until the Pac-12 comes to the table.
I just think it's really interesting that when you look at the bravado and the arrogance that it takes to have the Mountain West, because it's not arguable. The Mountain West extended an olive branch to the Pac-12. You need to exist. Let's make a scheduling agreement. Sure, we're open to that, but we're going to have to put these poaching fees in here because we can't have you stealing our members.
Yeah.
And they did it anyway. And now you've gone to court to try and not pay those poaching fees because you say it's interfering with your commerce. What was poaching those members? That's not interfering with the business of the Mountain West?
Come on.
And on top of that, I'm told by sources in the TV industry that people in television are like, hey, have you guys talked to the Mountain West about merging any? Is that conversation? Hey, have you guys? Hey, it's Teresa at the Pac-12. We'd like to talk about a TV deal with you guys. Hey, just out of curiosity, have you guys talked to the Mountain West about merging? Is that still a thing? Because there's no doubt people in television have told me repeatedly they want a merger.
Yeah, because that's what makes sense for the TV partners.
It's more valuable for them.
Yeah.
It saves them money, and they're not. If you can imagine that a Mountain West Pac-12 coming together, a merger, is worth $12 to $15 million a year all in on a media rights deal.
And it just makes it easier. You're not dealing with like 10 people.
Because at that point, you're not fighting with somebody else for the late window on the West Coast. You guys own it.
Yeah.
Right? At that point, you have leverage, which neither of you have now. And it allows you to go into business with ESPN, Fox, CBS, all of your sports properties, all of your major sports broadcasters would have a hand in that deal. I am telling you again, ESPN Plus absolutely wants live football in the late window on ESPN Plus because, and I don't know anything.
All right, trust me, bro.
ESPN's going direct to consumer this fall, or is scheduled to.
And we've been saying that on this here program for probably 15 to 16 months.
There you go. A couple more. Let's run through it because then we got to get to some Aaron Rodgers and Trav. ACC Commissioner Gumby. Hello, guys. Don't forget that FSU is going to submit a letter of intent to leave the ACC in early July of 2024. Also, smiles and glory hole.
Oh, okay. You calling for
Smiles
a drop here, dude?
And glory hole.
Smiles and glory holes.
I love in the comment section yesterday, Dallas Cowboy fans like, it's not a sex glory hole, you idiots.
Smiles.
Well, it sounds
and
like
glory
it's me.
holes.
I know it's an oil reference. I get it.
Me, it's an oil reference.
Oil.
Yeah.
Just so you know, and we've said this on the show in the past, what he's saying there with smiles and glory holes.
And glory holes.
When you're drilling for oil and it explodes and there's oil everywhere, it's called a glory hole. It's an oil reference, but there is another type of glory hole that I will not detail on this here program. And as far as this man's opinion, Jerry wasn't talking about no oil hole.
Smiles and glory holes.
He was talking about the other oil hole.
The car.
Okay, let's move on. Go.
Monty, it's Roma Dunze, not Jim Rome. Don't you know that?
You sick son of a bitch.
Gosh.
Yeah, yes, I'm aware. I should probably see a doctor. The Pac should have merged with the Mountain West. Call it Pac. Yeah, I agree. I read that one. Mike Smith. Mountain.
This is funny over the weekend, yeah.
We're watching the Super Bowl. And what song comes on? Mike, what song? Do you want to talk about Rent Free in my head?
And like the whole stadium is singing
Mountain Mama, take me home. Hold on. What? Real quick.
Google me.
Mountain Mama, take me home to a place where Mike Smith cleans his coal.
Smiles and glory holes.
We're watching the Super Bowl and they're singing.
Dawn dish soap.
We're a brush and some Dawn dish soap, cleaning coal.
Dude.
We're watching the Super Bowl and Mountain Mama comes on.
Bro, I
West
can't.
Virginia. I call Monty to determine the proper amount of tithe to help Ryan Smith pay for hockey teams. Stop
Bro, I'm not doing it today,
don't
dude.
forget, now that, Utah hockey team has sold all their tickets, they're a
Right.
raging success.
Right.
And it proves that people in Utah wanted a hockey team.
Right.
Y'all reading all this cap ass shit.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Hey, did you guys? Hey, Jim, it's Ryan Smith. How we doing on that copyright? And that license to use Utah Yetis. Oh, we're fine, Ryan. We're good. Go talk to AJ DeBanza.
I don't know. I don't know if.
Go cut AJ DeBanza.
I don't quite know how to answer that. To be honest.
NIL for BYU basketball. We got the copyright
go
stuff.
ahead and get KY paid and all those dudes. Yeah.
Have Danny help the Lakers win another championship because I got this copyright thing right here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you
Smiles and glory holes.
Come on.
How do you not check the copyright on Yeti? Oh, raging success, Bonnie.
Just like those yellow jerseys, huh?
How about those purple mountain jerseys you forgot to order,
bro?
Okay.
Don't talk crap about my team.
Exactly. I call Uncle Monty when I need help picking out good places for late night dates with my girlfriend. Exactly right. And donuts. But the Pack has its own production facility. Yeah. Hey, San Ramon. And we're going to save money producing OnlyFans content for our cheerleaders in San Ramon. Have you seen how much fans only money they're making down there?
I swear to God, the day it comes out that the Pack 2 or 6 or whatever it is selling private equity shares into the conference to build their liquidity, I want my flowers on that story because that will happen. I guarantee you it's happening.
I'm just saying, whoever gets their TV deal first, I'll just say this every day because somebody's going to, told ya, whoever gets their TV deal first wins. This is trial by violence. That's what this is. Whoever gets their TV deal first survives. Those who don't. LOL phone night. Yeah. West Virginia. And Mike, I'm serious, Mike. Every time I hear that song, I think
Dude, he was belting it out, bro.
It's a great tune.
It is a great tune.
Weren't we going to get some NBA at the front end of the show yesterday? You were probably supposed to, but not really.
Such as in
Big Papa War Machine gifts 5 Monty Show. Big Papa, appreciate you. Thanks so much. Thank you. TJ Beck, yep, I'm a pilot. And Mike Smith is right. Baghdad Bob, can we change Jake's nickname to Jakey Two Shakes? Wow.
Hey, Two Holes.
Wow.
Dude, Jakey Two Shakes? Bro.
Wow. Come on, Jakey Two Holes is one of the best names I've ever come up with.
But Two Shakes is funny as hell.
Okay, so real quick,
then yes, we will get to the NBA and
because we have a pilot,
Aaron Rodgers, and
your mom.
Yeah,
let's ride.
Jake tried to make your mom's sex joke this morning. I said, "So you're trying to bang your grandmother?" He's like, "Yeah, I am actually." Anyway, the point is, Jakey Two Shakes.
Yeah.
TJ, let's get into the pilot thing. Did you guys see that the Motley Crue legend Vince Neil?
Yeah.
Who was not on the plane.
Yeah.
His private jet, his Lear, was flying into Scottsdale Airport yesterday, had a landing gear failure, and he slammed into a Gulf Stream.
Yeah.
1 person is dead, 4 people are injured. In another air issue disaster thing. I'm getting on a Delta jet on Friday. And I'm just going to grab my ass and hope for the best because I love, you guys know that I love to fly. I love to travel. I'm passionate about it. It's all I want to do. Give me my golf clubs and an airline ticket, Delta One, please. And I'm off. I'm out. And I am not comfortable flying right now. My wife flew up to Seattle yesterday. And
yeah, I just think the thing you got to remember is it's all on scale. Like we've seen more accidents lately, yes, but you're talking about, I mean, I don't know the exact number. It's got to be, bro, it's got to be hundreds of thousands of flights a day. It has to be.
it is
nationally.
It is. And I understand that globally the percentages are on your side
By a lot.
But in the last 3 weeks, how many have we had?
Yeah.
How does a Black Hawk fly right into a commercial airliner?
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
You can't explain that. This stuff is so bizarre to me. And
I mean, I'm not blaming you for feeling that way. I'm just simply saying that when you get on a
says the guy who drives everywhere he goes.
That's not true.
Hey, we're going to Paris. Well, let's hop in the Subi.
What are you talking about, dude?
You would rather drive to LA than fly to LA.
It depends.
We have an upcoming Los Angeles trip.
Yeah.
And Jake's like, well, let's get a hot air balloon, bro.
Bro, we literally did not talk
Subi,
about flying or driving.
Let me tell you something about the cargo space in the Subi. It looks like a shopping cart, so it has the capacity of a shopping cart.
Oh, he don't know nothing.
We could fit your fat ass in there. Don't worry about it, bro. Guy would rather drive to spring training than fly.
I've literally never said that.
But is it true?
No,
Yes.
It's not true. No, it's not. Like
you would anyway. The point is, I'm a little nervous about flying right now. That's what I'm saying. LOL, let's hop in the Subi. Let's hop in the Subi, bro.
That's right, T.
I mean,
with Jakey Two Shakes.
Yeah, me and Jakey Two Shakes are hopping in the Subi. And as Jake is wanting to do, we're just going to strap it up and head to Arizona, bro. You know. I mean, Zion National Park be damned.
I mean, it sounds super good. You can't deny it.
You know. And then when you come out of the Subi, your hair is going to be on fire.
Oh, fucking God.
Man, dude.
Never a wrong time to play that. Anyway, I'm just a little nervous to fly right now. That's it. The Hawaiian golfer, Monty, is just salty because Jake's makes him ride in the trunk while Jake is shaking it twice.
Yeah.
Things you don't need to see.
Jakey,
I don't need to see it.
Two Shakes is a goated reference.
Yes. Jake has a Subaru. He's got a in one of the nicest ones. His car, well, he never walked. Dude, are you gonna get take a Swiffer and dust the dashboard?
No. He
has one of the nicest WRXs, lowered, strapped down, wheel package. You want to shake it twice, just find a picture of his car. Like, he's got a wonderful. Do you have an axle back? Do you have an axle back?
Yeah. Muffler
so
delete,
it's got an axle back muffler delete, like. Yeah. And
loud
the guy
enough,
won't.
But not too loud.
The guy won't wash his car.
Yeah,
and he won't dust the dashboard.
The problem is
you're lazy. That's the problem.
No, that's not true.
Now the problem is that axle back is scraping on the ground. You put that thing through a rail, I'm gonna come out.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna have an axle back.
Dude.
I'm not gonna have it. Not only will I not have an axle back.
Now here's the dirty.
I won't have any exhaust.
Here's the dirty truth.
And I'm lazy.
There's a touchless car wash about 5 minutes from my house. That's such as in like
Subarus are reliable. They are. Jeremy Bolton. Everyone in Zion knows that Two Shakes has.
It's over. It's over, dude.
So we go down.
Two Shakes is officially inducted.
So Two Shakes and his crazy ex-girlfriend. We all go down to Moab to crawl. We had built a Rubicon, right?
I missed that one so much.
I missed the Jeep too, but it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, it was.
We go down to Moab. And we do, what was the name of that trail we did? I can't remember. Fins and Things. So we do Fins and Things, dominated. It was awesome. We go and get the Subi, and we go to the grocery store.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate occurrence. Yeah.
And you know those drivers, and I don't know any personally. I'm not pointing anybody out directly. I would never do that and humiliate somebody.
Don't fuck.
You know those asshole drivers that like lower their cars and then drive them into parking blocks and they have a mental breakdown when they hit the parking block with the splitter and it pops the entire front bumper off?
It didn't pop it all the way off.
Well, I mean, listen, it didn't come physically off the car.
Yeah, I mean
it was blowing around in the wind like it was a bed sheet. You know.
Let's ride.
Okay. It's oh God, Jay Chapman. Now I have to read all of your comments. Awesome.
Damn.
Awesome. Midweek Coug. But what about the tires? Probably bald too. No, they're not. No, they're not.
No,
because
I am
the
a
two of
snob
us
for tires. Dude.
Yeah, we spend bread on our cars.
Bro, I am a snob about I have 2 sets of wheels and tires.
He has a winter set and a summer set.
I am an absolute snob about tires. Yeah. Yep. 100%.
TJ Beck. Yes, Monty, you're right. You have a better chance of getting hit by an impaired driver daily than being in a flying incident. A flying incident. Well, see, I'm so light and trim. No, especially by someone impaired by Prozac in Utah. Exactly. Did you guys see the Ozempic study that came out? Jesus.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Oh, Ozempic's great. You don't have to worry about that, Chubbs. Just take the shot. You'll lose weight. We'll all live happily ever after until you go blind from Ozempic.
Yeah, I have to say that. So like initially with Ozempic, we all knew that there was going to be side effects that obviously everyone was unaware of, right? It wasn't like it's a drug that was studied enough. You knew what its purpose was, but I'm always a big believer in the idea that, hey, even if you know the purpose of a drug, whether it's creatine or Ozempic or whatever it might be, there's always side effects that are unknown. You just don't know how it's going to affect. Right. So the thing that concerns me is that with like, I have no doubt that Ozempic and all the semaglutide drugs work. They do. They will cut your fat down. You'll lose weight. But I do think the effects it has on individual people is different for everybody. And that's the scary part.
There are people losing their vision, their eye, they're calling it dead eye.
And it was, I read it last night. It was that the blood vessels that feed your eye fill up too much or just constricts. I can't remember.
It constricts.
Yeah.
And so you have some people are lucky enough that it's temporary.
Right.
You go off Ozempic, but here's the problem. You have no symptoms of it. You lay down, you go to bed, you wake up. Oh my God, my eye don't work. You wake up with dead eye.
Yeah.
And nope.
It's really tough, dude.
And I think that I am a great candidate for Wegovy or Ozempic. I work out all the time. I eat well. I'm losing weight already. I could absolutely fast track myself to lose 30 more pounds.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. And my wife and I have talked about it. She had thought about doing it. I thought about doing it. My doctor's like, oh yeah, you should do it. Hell no. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. Noel Ramirez, that's like a monkey paw type of wish, be thin, but you can't see. Yeah. Yeah.
It's insane, dude. It's
man,
crazy.
We're going to take 50 pounds off you, but we're also going to gouge one of your eyes.
Like that's the part that really scares
Fair
me.
trade.
And again, the hard part is that you don't know. You're
yes.
You don't know.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
What's the point of looking good if you can't see yourself?
Right.
Oh man, Monty, you look good.
I don't know. It just scares me, dude. Honestly, it just scares me. It makes me feel like, hey, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe, I mean,
maybe
again, we know it's not, but again, it's not, we're not saying this happens to everyone. That's the key part of the conversation. It's not everyone that's happened. Like it's some people suffer severe side effects. And again, this is everything
beyond the diarrhea and the constant, like irritable bowel syndrome. Right. Some people get,
and some people throw up from it. And like, it really like, so like, again, my main point with this whole thing is whether it's COVID vaccines, whether it's Ozempic, whether it's any type of supplementation, there are always people that are going to have severe side effects. And with this, that level of severe side effect terrifies me, dude.
Nope.
Like
I am not doing it.
It's scary, man.
I am not doing it.
It is really, really scary. And again, like I've said a million times when we've talked about this, I don't judge people. I'm not one of those people where I'm like, oh, you're on Ozempic, I'm judging you, you're a terrible. I'm not, that's not me. I'm not judging you for it, but I am concerned.
Yeah.
Like
pill popping is never good. No, especially when it's a needle. JC says, good morning. Morning. Mike Smith. I'm on Ozempic now. I can see Monty, but can't see Jakey Two Shakes. It's over. And you're Jakey Two Shakes forever.
Over, dude. Jakey Two Shakes is who? Can we go back really quick and see who said that?
I don't remember who
I think
said
it was TJ.
I don't know.
I think it was TJ.
I don't. Okay.
Yeah, who said Two Shakes?
D-Rock, Russian roulette. It is.
It is.
Not new info, but still riveting. Thank you. It's crazy how so many drugs have way more potential side effects than what the drug is intended to do. Okay, now you can take this and it'll clear up your acne. But dude, it is going to rip your colon in half.
Dude,
We have a good friend of ours that is diabetic and was taking Ozempic and other stuff. And his gut health was so bad, it's debilitating.
Yeah, but then they changed it all and they got him off of it, and it just was.
And the hard part
difference.
I think the hard part for a lot of diabetics is you're on such an interesting cocktail of ingredients in your gut because you eat a lot of sugar-free or low-fat or that stuff is terrible for you. And we've been talking about, oh my God, conspiracy theory confirmed.
What?
I undersold the lead.
What?
My wife is on an airplane yesterday.
Okay.
I've talked about the white top Monster Energies.
Yeah.
Right? See how that's a white top on it?
Right. Yeah.
They also make ones that are silver topped.
Gray. I call them gray tops.
Don't drink the silver tops. She was sitting next to somebody from Monster Energy on her flight yesterday. Confirmed. The silver top is a very different product because if it's not a white top on the can, they ran out of this kind of can. They're having supply chain issues.
Here we go.
And what do we always say about the silver top?
The silver top tastes weird. It tastes
it's
very
terrible.
Different.
It's not enjoyable.
Yeah.
Wait,
what? So hold on. So the guy said that she was this monster Energy person. Said that not only is it a supply chain issue with the can itself, but
it could potentially
make
it. No, it could potentially make it taste different because it is physically a different can top.
Okay.
It is physically a different. They have to go to a different supplier to get the silver top because they're having supply chain issues with the white.
You know,
tops.
the funny thing about that is Costco. I get mine at Costco.
Me
they
too.
Sell it by the case. Some weeks Costco has white tops. They've had it every week for almost the last month. But then there are other weeks where it's silver tops. So
see, I don't ever see silver at Costco. They just don't have it.
Well, they used to do silver tops.
And the other thing that's interesting, do you guys see this black tab? They make white tops with the silver tab. Same problem. You want a white top with a black tab.
Yeah.
Telling you.
And again, most notably at Costco, and this is to your supply chain point, when were all the silver tops happening at Costco? When Black Ops 6 came out for Call of Duty and they did that partnership and they were selling more product. So that makes sense.
Yep. Okay, couple more. Brandon Butler, if it were health-related issues like obesity and having heart condition, it may be worth it. Pure vanity, you may be adding health problems for pretty privilege. Yes. And I'm willing to do the work to lose weight.
Yeah.
I don't need, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. There's a reason you guys will laugh at me. And I said this yesterday. I can barely walk right now. I did leg day on Sunday and went way over the top. My calves are the dumb.
That's the toughest part about getting back into strength training is you can't go over the top initially.
Delayed onset
it is
muscle
so
soreness.
Bad, dude.
Oh my God.
DOMs are just going to roast you.
My calves are not good. So if you can get Ozempic, guys, and look at two shakes, do you only see one shake? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, J2S, Jakey two shakes.
J2S, dude.
TJ Beck, I said Jakey two shakes. There you go.
Yeah.
Smiles
TJ Beck.
and glory holes.
Yes.
So TJ Beck is now a goated member of the show for Jakey Two Shakes.
Big Papa War Machine. I prefer the Black Monsters.
Well, I've heard
this
that
is a
about
family
you, dude.
show.
Yeah, I've heard that about
this
you.
is a family show.
Ass.
Mike Smith, silver top has lead in it. Let's hope not. Good Lord. Andrew G, I work overnights in California. So 5 a.m. here when the show starts, but I don't wake up until 5:45 my time. Hard part of work done at 7:30 your time. Yes, Pac-12 homer. Okay.
Well, at least you embrace it. See, I can respect that.
I can respect that too,
If you would just
Andrew.
say, like we have so many Pac-12 folks on this show, who won't just say, yeah, I'm a Pac-12 homer, and I don't want what you're saying to be true. Okay, now we can talk. Now I can like have a conversation with you about your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway. Jeremy Bolton, is two shakes, quote unquote, or hashtag team stand or team sit?
Team sit, dude. I'm not standing to reach back there, dude.
Why, Jeremy?
I'm not doing it, dude. Like I don't understand people who pinch one off and then stand up to do that. I cannot.
Yeah, but you're also the guy who pulls them back to front.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
You drag the boys through the mud.
No,
yeah, you do.
Hell no, dude. I'm not dragging, quote, the boys through the mud, dude.
Liar. Breaking news, I can, quote, almost do a pull-up now. I still finished last in CrossFit, but I still beat y'all. That did not show up, dude. I was doing assisted pull-up. I can't do a pull-up. I can't.
Dude, pull-ups are difficult,
I
bro.
can do an assisted pull-up. There's a machine that uses a weight stack. If I put 100 pounds on the weight stack, I can do it.
Yeah.
So totally. Look at Jeremy Bolton is a
fitness freak, dude.
He could probably do 50 pull-ups. Ryan Dooley, if you're really bad at losing weight, I would suggest seeing a physical therapist before going on meds. Yeah, I would not.
Yeah, I think that the thing, my opinion's always been that losing weight is simply a formulaic conversation. Like, and the thing is that everybody can lose weight, but everybody's different in what they need to do it. So like some people, like with Ozempic, there are some people who really struggle to lose weight. Like they need to be in a bigger caloric deficit to actually lose a pound a week, versus someone like you who doesn't necessarily need to be in a massive caloric deficit to lose 2 pounds a week. Like I usually, I think yours is like 500 calories or so. What? Does that for you? Like, yeah,
if I lop off, if I eat 2,500 calories versus 3,000, I usually eat around 3,000 calories a day. If I cut that to 2,500, I'll lose 2 pounds a week every week. But the issue is you have to be active.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got so far off the rails here, but you have to, even if you just go for a walk, a 10-minute walk after you eat, like you just can't eat late at night. Like there's just for me, the key is I need to drink. This is it. I'm drinking 1 can of Monster a day now. I do not drink 2. And I also don't drink soda, lemonade, none of that. I drink water or nothing. That's it. And if you eat well, in my case, it's protein and vegetables, and then I have oats in the morning, I'll lose 2 pounds a week. If I cut myself down to 25, which is hard for me, 2,500 calories is challenging, but I also know you can't rely on discipline to do that. The people that rely on discipline do not lose weight.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be disciplined. You won't be. How far away is a safe distance to stand in the urinal away from Jakey Two Shakes? That's a really good question.
I don't know the answer, bro.
So we go to dinner the other night. We need to talk about the low urinal and the normal size urinal. Certain people who fit in a thimble should not be at the high urinal. And yet, what happened? We walk into a bathroom, and I've just paid $341 for a steak dinner.
Uh-huh.
Did he give me the high urinal?
Of course.
No.
No.
He knows that when I drop it down, it drops down.
What was my logic, though?
Well, dude, you got to drop it down.
Yeah, if you're dropping it down, don't you want the lower urinal?
No.
It doesn't work both ways.
You're an idiot. It's fine. J2H is retired due to breaking his neck from being team headstand.
Yeah,
exactly.
Jeremy
Bolton, 51 pull-ups.
Bro, you need to chill out, bro.
51 pull-ups.
That's more than 21 times a month, dude.
21.
Fat Jesus, silver top, white top. How about just drink water? I do. Mike Smith, Jakey mud flap. Exactly. Drag them boys through the mud like you love to do. It's all about washing the bum, team spray. I'm with you. If you do not have a hand sprayer in the shower, you're not living life right.
No, that's a bidet reference.
I've not gone bidet yet. LMAO, no, you don't, but life is hard now as a fan. Okay. The eye patch, you're not going to lose weight by gaining muscle. You will not.
No, but you can change your body composition.
You can, which I have done. You need to, it is all calories in, calories out.
Yeah.
Just know that. My advice to you, if you want to lose weight, start taking walks every time you eat. You eat breakfast, go for a 5-minute walk around the office. You eat lunch, build in time into your lunch hour to take a 10-minute walk right after you eat lunch. And if that's all you can do, that's great. But what you really need to do is you need to stop eating sugar, you need to stop drinking calories, and you need to be more active. That's it. Fat's not killing you, sugar is. Noel Ramirez, I have a friend that struggles gaining weight. He has high metabolism. He couldn't make the football team because he couldn't gain weight. Those are the people that wind up with cardiac arrest. Though my cardiologist back in the day, I would see when I would get these intensive physicals, I would see a cardiologist. The one time I had a stress test, we talked about hamster hearts. And those are the guys that your heart just, you're thin and your heart's always, you just run at a hotter temperature and you just burn out. Be careful with that. David Floyd, does the ACC position hurt the Big 12? I would think not. It appears ESPN is willing to pay the ACC a lot more than the Big 12. I would disagree with that.
Yeah, go back to the beginning of the show. We talked about it.
Yeah, David, I would disagree with that. Big Papa War Machine, you're telling me Jake took the grown-up urinal when he's 5 feet tall? Exactly right. Exactly right. I hate it when short folks take the tall pisser. Me too. It's disrespectful. Fat Jesus, pull-ups are for show-offs.
Well,
I wish I could show off like that. Mike Smith, walk to gas station to buy a glizzy. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Take a walk. So instead of sugar, just do cocaine instead. It's an option.
Obviously. White powder there's nothing wrong
Cocaine
with it.
is a hell of a drug.
You get some Peruvian pure, nobody's going to judge you. Well, the
Cocaine
cops,
and hookers, my friend.
that's a felony. So I probably wouldn't do that. First world problems. Exactly right. Fat Jesus, they totally are. Got to show off to those high school punks taking all the machines in the gym. Damn right. Do it for all of us who are too fat to do pull-ups.
Yeah, do it for 2 shakes.
You should probably also do it for Aaron Rodgers. Because Aaron Rodgers, done with the New York Jets. Let me ask you guys, do you believe that Aaron Rodgers ever plays in the NFL again?
Does he fulfill the prophecy and go to the Minnesota Vikings like Favre did?
I'll tell you why he won't after this.
Hi, Sarah. Your dad told me about your accident. Can you tell me how it happened?
Still kind of going through it, but I was stopped at a light, and then this car I heard it come up behind me, and bam, and it's kind of like in slow motion.
Yep, that's how it happens. And if you're in the hospital and you need an attorney, call the Advocates. Get online. Chat with an injury attorney live online, and it won't cost you a dime. At theadvocates.com, no matter where you are. The Advocates have offices in San Diego, Las Vegas, Boise, Montana, of course, Salt Lake City. Anywhere you are, advocates.com, chat with an injury attorney live online, and it won't cost you a dime. The best part about the Advocates, you never reach in your pocket to pay the Advocates because you don't pay unless and until the Advocates win your case. Make sure you tell them you heard about it. On the Monty Show, is Aaron Rodgers done in the NFL? I think there is no question that Aaron Rodgers will play again. It's simply a matter of, does Aaron Rodgers want to play again? And my belief is, if you're getting on an airplane to go back and try and work it out with the Jets, you still have the fire inside and you want to play. And I think Aaron Rodgers, while his market will be very limited, for instance, I could see Aaron Rodgers going and being the starting quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders. I could see Aaron Rodgers finding a home in this league where he can go and compete. And I think that's very different than Aaron Rodgers going and winning a Super Bowl. But, Jake, I don't think that means that Aaron Rodgers won't play in the NFL again.
Yeah, I definitely think that Aaron Rodgers wants to play in the NFL. I think that Aaron Rodgers, would love to finish on a more positive note than what happened in New York with the Jets. But, again, this has been my opinion on Aaron Rodgers for years now. I think that Aaron wants to be this feel-good guy, and he wants to go out, on a high note and win a Super Bowl and do all these things. But the reality is he's not a Super Bowl caliber teammate. He's not someone that is going to build up the organization. and he's out for himself. And I think that's the hard part, is that, if you're an NFL team looking at signing Aaron Rodgers, that it's a 1 to 2 year proposition, and there's a high chance that he's going to burn out your locker room, that there's going to be drama and issues. So yes, I do think Aaron wants to play. The problem is I don't know that he's a super attractive signer or signee to a team. I don't know that, like, I was kind of only half joking with the Vikings situation. Like, the Vikings need another quarterback. It's not going to be Sam Darnold. Obviously, JJ's there, but we don't know what JJ McCarthy is as an NFL quarterback. So if you're the Vikings, you then have to sit here and say, okay, well, is Aaron Rodgers willing to mentor JJ McCarthy? Could we get value that way?
No, that's a huge question.
And I think that in New York, there were conflicting reports. Some reports said that, when Zach Wilson was there and Aaron Rodgers was hurt, that Aaron Rodgers helped Zach. And then other reports said he didn't help Zach at all. So I don't know what the truth is about what Aaron is willing to do or not do right now. And I think that part of it is what really hurts his ability to get to another team.
And I think teams like Minnesota, JJ McCarthy's a great example. They're willing to pay Sam Darnold big money because I think they know JJ McCarthy's not a franchise quarterback, right? You look at the Raiders haven't had an Aaron Rodgers type draw there for how long? But where does he really fit? You look at Myles Garrett. Anywhere. You look at the guys that are potentially on the free agent market. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be the highest priority, because I think you also don't know what Aaron Rodgers has left in the tank.
Yeah.
You're going to have to deal with his nonsense and BS that comes along with him. And I think the biggest question is, who has the wherewithal to do that? I think it's much easier for the Vikings to go back and sign a Sam Darnold than it is to go and try and get Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers fits uniquely in Las Vegas. And I don't know that there's another great fit for him. I don't. And I can you imagine any major contender cutting their quarterback or benching their quarterback to sign Aaron Rodgers?
No.
Can you imagine the Cleveland Browns being able to pull Aaron Rodgers? I can't. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play for the Cleveland Browns. I would have a tough time with. I don't even know how you do that. Yeah. Aaron, that's going to be.
There's so much drama around him. There's so much, unknown or maybe lack of faith around the fact that he would help your team. Because again,
I agree.
Now we're in a place where it's not just assumed that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back to what he used to be. I mean, he was a shell of himself when he came back. Like, with all due respect, you're not mobile. You were not on the same page with your wide receivers. Like, it just wasn't a good showing. So I do think that there's risk in signing him. Like, that's the hard part.
It'll be interesting to see where he ends up. I think you can't tell me he goes to Minnesota. They're better off with Darnold than they are with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but I don't think Darnold's going to be there.
Oh, I think he will. Why would he not go back there? He knows the offense. They're familiar with him. He's familiar with them. They don't have a starting quarterback behind him.
Dude, the Kevin O'Connell presser at the end of the year was pretty clear. It was a nice run. We really appreciate him. Loved doing this season with him. But they didn't explicitly say they were moving on.
No, they didn't.
But I don't know. If they don't move on, then I don't know what the hell that press conference was.
We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of variables. I mean, if you look at, the teams that make the Super Bowl always have a stud. And whether that's Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes or whoever you want to point to, I think that's absolutely the ingredient you have to have. And then you have to wonder, what should Tay-Tay's boyfriend do, and what should Kansas City do with Tay-Tay's boyfriend, Trav?
First of all, I'm sick and tired of hearing about how Taylor Swift is such a victim.
Tay-Tay.
For getting booed at the Super Bowl, and that Trav on the bench felt so bad for her and he couldn't protect her. Dude, get the hell out of here, man.
Are people really saying that?
Yeah, there was a whole slew of articles that came out that Trav was just so upset and felt so like, just stop. And as far as what they should do with him, my opinion is, with Trav,
who is Tay-Tay's boyfriend.
If I'm Trav, you've got a year or two left at most. Like, you're not who you used to be, guy. And
But
the
he colors his
fall-off
hair
has
so
been
he
fast.
looks younger.
Yeah, nice suit walking in, dude. Nice tan, red brick colored suit walking in. I'm not paying you $17 million to get nothing from you. I'm just not. And that's what I feel like that was.
No, I agree with that. If I am the Chiefs and Tay-Tay's boyfriend, I'm trying to figure out how we can stay together. They're going to have to cut him, I think, very clearly. You can't have a Tay-Tay boyfriend $17 million cap hit.
Not going to work.
For Hair Club for Men guy. I think you need to, what's the hair color that you brush into your beard? I can't remember what that's called. Anyway, Hair Club for Men Trav can't go back
just for men.
Just for men.
Yeah.
Just for men Trav can't go back there with a $17 million cap hit.
No way.
No
how.
That's irrelevant.
And again, they're going to have to kind of reinvent that team a little bit. You're going to have that's why they have to get that number worked out, because he can't, with his lack of production, he can't cost them that much, because they got to go out and find that production.
I think that will happen.
Yeah.
He will wind up with the scumbag Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I think it's incredibly important. And I love, by the way, the scumbag Kansas City Chiefs fans who are in partnership with Swifties, who are also scumbags, leaving fake bad review on CJ Gardner-Johnson's mother's restaurant in Florida because they lost the Super Bowl.
Terrible look, dude.
And
terrible look.
You're devastating her business. You are devastating her business because you lost a football game. Somebody that has worked really hard to build a business, and you're flooding her Google page with 1-star reviews that are completely fake because her son plays for the Eagles.
And Google won't do anything about that for you, just so you know.
You're just a bunch of scumbag losers. That's the problem with Chiefs fans.
Yeah.
You've won a lot, and now you lost, and you can't handle it. And it's disgusting. It's what I always tell you. It's why Kansas City's a crap hole. Their food sucks. Their people suck. Like, to me, that you would do this to somebody's business in a society where you and I both know that reviews matter. People read reviews.
Yeah.
The idea that you would leave a bunch of fake reviews because you lost a game, you're a scumbag.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's horrendous.
It's a terrible look, dude. And I don't know why we get this kind of story every year, dude. There's always a town that gets destroyed, or a business that gets torn down, or whatever it is every year.
It's brutal.
Yeah. And I just don't know why people are like that.
Tanner Plummer, but wait, I thought Eagles fans were the only ones who did stuff like that. No, you're the only ones that get racial and misogynistic and anti, LGBTQ on fans in the stands in your stadium.
Yeah.
And then you wind up getting banned for life from the link, and then you lose your job.
Yeah.
That's what Eagles fans do. Don't conflate the two, because they're different. Not similar, different. Out of the box prediction, Travis Kelce gets cut. The Lions will pick.
Stop.
Taylor Swift will collab with Big Sean.
Yeah, who are you, Big Daddy Magic?
Come on, man. No, they won't. The Eagles, I think the Eagles have a chance to win another Super Bowl back-to-back. The problem for Detroit is you've never had to overcome this, and I think it's going to be very difficult. That division, if the Packers spend money, that division is going to be very, very difficult to navigate. Because I think the Bears are already better. Now they have an elite coaching staff. The excuses are out.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about Caleb Williams and Shane Waldron? Oh my God. So Caleb Williams, your prize rookie quarterback, and I know he sucks, even though he had the exact same numbers as Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, no duh.
Go look. Their numbers are strikingly identical.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels, all the support he needs in Washington. Caleb Williams has such a crappy offensive coordinator in Shane Waldron, who refuses to review tape with Caleb Williams. So Caleb Williams got a room in the Bears facility and built it out so he could watch film, and he brought in outside coaches to help him because Shane Waldron would not watch film with him. So you're the offensive coordinator and you're not doing film work with your quarterback.
How?
I know, because you're the Chicago Bears. How is that possible? Dude. How is that possible? Yet this cat, and for everybody who's like, oh, he sucks, he's a boss. They almost identical numbers to Jaden Daniels, the offensive rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels. Because Washington's a good story, and the Bears are not. So everybody says Caleb's a bust and he sucks. Same numbers as Jaden Daniels. Offensive coordinator refuses to watch film with him. He has to build a room at the Bears facility and bring in outside coaches to help him. Your wide receivers were watching film with your quarterback. Your offensive coordinator was not.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to have a nice thing. But the Cubs are in camp. We're going to lose. It's going to be a miserable season. I'm sold out of Cubs season, spring training tickets.
Good year for you on that front.
Sold out.
Yeah.
We'll make a little bit of money, but we sold out.
It?
It is because we go to games. We're going to the most expensive games ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not thousands, certainly, but we'll see.
Right.
We'll see. It'll be very interesting. Let's see. Chrissy, so Swift can't have political opinions, but Trump and Elon can. Well, I don't even know that it's political.
Yeah.
She didn't get booed because of her politics. She got booed because she turned her back on the Eagles.
Yeah.
I think that's why she got booed. Now, you want to talk about K-Dot getting booed. He didn't get booed. He got, how shall I say? Everybody said his show sucked because they didn't like the political and personal messages in his performance.
I'm just telling you guys, there's a real chance that that's one of the best halftime shows we've had in the history of Super Bowl halftime shows.
Nobody will agree with you. I will be the only. I think it is behind Dre and Snoop, the second best rap halftime we've ever seen. And I just think there were a lot of nuancical references. I don't think anybody picked up that Samuel L. Jackson was talking about the American United States government. I don't think the average garden variety viewer knew that Serena Williams dated Drake.
But again, it's all coming out on TikTok.
Yeah,
which
I don't think the average garden variety viewer knew what the lowercase a was.
Yeah. I don't think anybody knew that the whole set was a PlayStation controller reference because Sony is the same company Drake signed with on his record deals.
You don't think people knew that was a video game controller?
I don't think live they put that together. Because there weren't a ton of wide shots to see the whole set.
Yeah. I thought it was a video game controller.
Yeah.
I understood that. The Sony thing is interesting.
Yeah.
The Sony thing is interesting. You know, it's fine. It sucked because I couldn't hear him. Were you at a party or something? What do you mean you couldn't hear him? Watched the halftime show on YouTube yesterday. I thought it was great. I thought it was excellent, Tanner. I did. I thought it was really good. The Eye Patch, Chiefs fan. I flew into Kansas City a couple of times. Now I'm a Kansas City fan.
Oh well, man, that's how's the bandwagon?
You know, Joe, keep politics out of sports. It doesn't work like that. They're the exact same thing.
Yeah,
it's not keep politics out of sports. We have to learn to talk to each other. You know, like to me, that's the biggest thing is we have to learn to talk to each other. Okay, before we go. This is amazing.
Oh man, dude.
This is amazing.
Oh, my word.
I don't think we got the video, but so you guys know that I'm fascinated with Oj.
Yeah.
What do we know about O.J. Simpson and Nicole Brown Simpson and the waiter, Ron Goldman? Oh, O.J. killed him. Almost cut Nicole's head off. Turns out that's not allegedly what happened. So now that Oj is dead, people are talking. And there is a wild, wild story going around on YouTube and on TikTok. You can easily find this. That Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman were killed by a mafia hit with O.J. Simpson there. As the story goes, and I think most people know that or it's been alleged, I don't want to state anything as fact, allegedly, Nicole Brown Simpson and O.J. Simpson had huge parties where they sold cocaine to their friends.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
They bought that cocaine from the mafia. And when you really get into it, they bought that cocaine from the Gambino crime family, allegedly.
Right.
They incurred debts, and in this case, the story goes, allegedly, that Nicole Brown Simpson incurred cocaine debts she could not pay off. So as a private investigator is telling this story, who investigated the murders and wanted the real story, OJ is waiting to go to Chicago to play in a golf tournament with Hertz. Okay, we know that's a fact.
Right.
In fact, at the end of the night, he wound up going to Chicago. He's chipping golf balls in the front yard of his Rockingham estate, his Brentwood estate in Los Angeles, waiting for the town car to pick him up. It's got about 35 minutes when another car rolls up. And it is a Gambino crime family thug, allegedly, who rolls up. And is there to collect his money. The crime family had allegedly gotten tired of waiting for the Simpsons to pay. So they sent a heavy out and said, go get our money. They roll up on OJ, who's really surprised. And he's like, I paid my part of it. Allegedly, this is what happened. I paid my part of it. Go talk to Nicole. That's her debt, not my debt. And so as the story goes, the guy says, okay, well, you're going with me. Or the more perverse angle is OJ's like, let me take you over to her house. I know right where it is. Because the heavy didn't know where Nicole lived.
Was there in the story, was there an understanding of if that was true, that was her debt and his debt, or if the mafia saw that as the same thing?
The mafia in the story saw it as the same thing.
Okay.
Which is why they went to see OJ.
Okay.
Who had tons of money at the time.
Right. So they go over to the house.
They go over to, he goes in the house, allegedly gets an Equinox Swiss Army knife, a foldable blade.
Yeah.
We know that, according to this PI, because in the inventory of the house, there was one knife missing. And it happened to be an Equinox foldable blade that would be the same size blade that allegedly stabbed Nicole or stabbed Ron Goldman, allegedly. So as the story goes, Oj goes in the house. They get into, he gets the knife. They go into the Bronco. They go over to Nicole's condo. And the heavy and OJ have an agreement, allegedly, that the heavy's going to walk up there and beat up Nicole and OJ's going to watch. The problem is they did not know that Nicole would be standing on the front porch with Ron Goldman. One of the interesting parts about the investigation that has zero answers, how were there two different blades used to stab Ron and Nicole? And why were Ron's hands mangled? Like beat, like he had been in a fight for his life. But OJ didn't have any, he had one mark on his hand, on his finger. He says he broke a glass in his hotel room in Chicago and cut his finger.
Right.
Other than that, OJ had no physical signs of a struggle. Ron Goldman had mangled hands, like by some accounts, broken knuckles and fingers, like he had been in a fight.
Fighting for his life.
So as the story goes, allegedly, the heavy walks up to the door thinking he's going to knock on the door and he's going to beat up Nicole. Well, they're standing in the foyer outside the front door, and Ron tries to step to the heavy, the mafia guy, and they get into a Pier 6 brawl. Nicole gets involved, allegedly. That's when OJ steps in, and Ron Goldman and this mafia guy are in a fight for their life. Ron is beating the hell out of this guy, who then pulls out a knife, blades are thrown around, and at the end of the night, Ron Goldman is stabbed to death. Nicole Brown Simpson is almost decapitated by a different blade, which the theory in this investigator says is from the mafia henchman.
Right.
OJ's blade is what killed Ron Goldman. A couple other things that people didn't know. Did you guys remember the OJ infamous low-speed chase?
Right.
Where did that take place? Well, you guys know it as an LAPD chase. Well, it turns out, if you go back and look at the record, it actually started in Lake Forest, California, which is in southern Orange County. Well, what do you mean? So you know that OJ is in this Bronco threatening to kill himself. Well, that started at the cemetery where Nicole was buried. And according to this private investigator, AC Collins, OJ's best friend, they get in a different Bronco than the one that was covered in blood that OJ and this henchman allegedly went over to Nicole's condo in, which is where all the blood got everywhere.
Yeah.
But again, why didn't they find OJ's blood in the Bronco? They found somebody else's blood. AC Collins had the exact same Bronco that OJ had. They go to the cemetery, and allegedly OJ's about to kill himself at Nicole's grave. And he's yelling and screaming, "You did this. You made me do this. This is your fault."
At her grave.
At her gravesite with a gun to his head.
Yeah.
And how do we know this? From eyewitness reports of employees at the graveyard who called the cops and said, OJ Simpson is here with a gun to his head. And he's yelling, "You did this this is your fault." AC Collins, his best friend, stops him from killing himself at the graveyard. They get into the Bronco. The low-speed chase starts in Orange County with the Orange County Sheriff's Department. It's then handed over to LA.
Yeah.
The other part that most people don't know, the plan by the LAPD was not to have a trial. Allegedly, the plan was for OJ Simpson to pull up in his driveway, and they know through this low-speed chase, OJ's got a gun in his hand. He's going to shoot himself or somebody else, and all he wants to do is go back to his house. Their plan was they had snipers posted, and they were going to shoot OJ and kill him as soon as he stepped out of the Bronco. And they were going to say, well, he had a gun. We thought he was going to kill somebody. Only problem with that is, and we see this on the video, OJ's son, as soon as the Bronco pulls into the Rockingham Estate driveway, comes running out, and OJ gets out, and him and his son are standing there together. So the shot disappeared for the snipers.
Yeah.
I think it's all there's so many details that are coming out about that night and the chase and the
eventually the truth will come out.
Why didn't the gloves fit OJ? Because he's not the one that wore them. He's not the one that wore them. Why didn't he have, if Ron's hands were so beat up, why didn't OJ have any bruises? Because that's not who was doing the fighting. Hey, why didn't the prosecutor ever bring up 2 knives and evidence of a physical battle with Ron Goldman? Because that would have pointed to somebody else killing them and not OJ Simpson. I think it's fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
I love this. I love it. I love every ounce of it.
Yeah.
I love everything to do with it. And as it comes out, it is that you were thinking about murdering OJ Simpson as soon as he stepped out of that Bronco is
crazy.
Classic LAPD racist corruption.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah. I loved it. I love the whole thing. And we'll get into it more.
Yeah, for sure.
But the storytelling on that, we should try and get that guy on the show sometime. Because I would love to do it. I would absolutely love to do it. The Monty Show presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. Did you get hurt at work today? Did your family member get hurt at work? Please do not trust your insurance company. In a car accident, in a workman's comp case, quality, risk-free advice. Theadvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on The Monty Show. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.